It's your MC for this year's Hall of Fame City Comic Con, Sarah Quinn. I have the privilege to speak to another one of our guests this year. This guy, he has performed over 100 roles. His Emmy Award-winning performances have given life to iconic characters such as Brain from Pinky and the Brain, Toucan Sam, yeah, the guy from cereal boxes, and more than 70 reoccurring characters on Futurama. And this is only skimming the surface of all of his accomplishments. Maurice LaMarche, thank you so much for taking the time to talk with me.
Sarah, it's a pleasure. Thank you. I'm glad I'm here. Finally.
Finally, it took some, like touch and base, but it was a journey that we went on together.
Yes, indeed. And, time differences and all of that and breakfasts to the room that were late and all of this sort of thing. I'm currently, as we record this, at another Comic-Con in the nation's capital of Canada. No, I'm having a great time at this con, and I'm really looking forward to coming to your con. So this is going to be fill in the name of con here. No, Hall of Fame City is going to be great. I'm trying to drag my son with me so he can go to the actual Hall of Fame while I'm doing the Comic-Con,
Oh yeah, absolutely.
Yeah.
And it's my hometown, so I can give you the hookup too if you need directions and stuff like that. And
Absolutely.
yeah, places to eat and stuff. Canton is actually a pretty cool town.
I'm looking forward to it.
Yeah. And if you love football, we like to call ourselves the birthplace of it. So.
Oh, that's great. My son is a big football fan. I was born, even though I'm Canadian, I was born without the sports gene. I don't know how, but my mom dated Bill Barilko, who was a legendary Toronto Maple Leaf hockey player in the 1940s, and led them to their Stanley Cup victory in 1951. And then there was a whole mystery around him that the rock group Tragically Hip. I think they're just called Tragically Hip, not the Tragic.
It's Tragically Hip. I love that band.
Tragically Hip. So their song 50 Mission Cap is about Bill Barilko. He went on a fishing trip and promptly disappeared for 11 years. And the Maple Leafs did not win another Stanley Cup until the wreckage of the plane was found in the northern forests of Ontario. They called it the Curse of Bill Barilko. And they were, back when there was only 6 teams in the entire NHL. I'm going to put my Do Not Disturb on because that's stomping on my horrific family story. Not terrific that Bill died. Of course, if that was the case, my name would be Maurice Barilko, and I probably would be interviewing me for the hockey con that come there, eh? To Canton, Ohio there.
Right. And we don't have much hockey in Ohio.
There, eh? And my even worse than they are. So so hockey all through the family. My dad was almost drafted into the NHL. He was too short was the only thing, but he played with the Mahablich brothers and Al Arbor and people like that from 1960s and 70s NHL, and they were his best friends. And he could skate like a rocket. I was actually named for Maurice Rocket Richard. And sort of. My grandmother would have said no, he was named for Maurice Chevalier. But my father was like, no, he's named for the Rocket. So, but he was amazing on skates. Couldn't believe every time I saw it. I was just weaving it out of people. He was a natural athlete, but because he was 5'6", that was too short for the league. So sports everywhere. I just don't get it. It's like something that's just none of my business.
I always, whenever people get into fights with it, I go, I just hope everybody has fun. And everyone either gets like super PO'd by that or like they're just like, oh, this chick over here.
All right. Let her sit over there in the corner and knit or something with Maurice LaMarche. Because I do. My son, for some reason, well, I know the reason, because the two guys who finally filled my shoes and introduced him to sports were two of his college classmates, two guys from South Jersey. So he became a rabid Philadelphia Eagles fan.
Oh, wow.
So he follows all the Philadelphia teams, even though born and raised Los Angeles. So
that's funny. I only got into baseball when I was little. My favorite baseball player of all time was Kenny Lofton. And the only story I have from sports is there used to be team shops in the mall growing up. And they traded my beloved Kenny Lofton out of, it was known at the time, the Cleveland Indians. Now it's Cleveland Guardians. Okay. And we were walking by the team store and we were going to get a jersey. And there's a guy outside signing autographs. And I'm like, who is that? My mom goes, oh, that's so-and-so. And I'm like, that isn't a player name. She goes, no, that's the guy that actually traded Kenny away. And I was 7 years old and I started crying and I marched my little unicorn wearing and I went like this to like tell him a piece of my mind. My mom's like, no.
And so you went into journalism. So to get the world
it really scarred me. So
you just let you go. You'd gotten the itch scratched and be doing something else. So.
That's right.
It's all dominoes. It's all butterfly wings on a pond. One thing leads to another, leads to another. It's great.
That's right.
But as any sports fan will tell you, baseball is not a sport; it's a pastime. So
I know, and you know what? It is kind of true. I go to watch the fans. I do not watch baseball on the television. I only go to games in person, and I'm the best of finding tickets. You get the best price, the best location, and the best free stuff.
Oh, cool! Excellent. I've enjoyed the odd baseball game, I have to say, going down to Dodger Stadium with my son. Mostly it's the food for me. Oh, Dodger dogs. Okay, Same. Great. I heard about these on the radio. So, yeah.
I got to go to the Red Sox Stadium in April for the first time, and that was pretty cool.
Oh, awesome.
Yeah. In Boston. I went with a group of friends on Easter. But like, yeah, crazy, right? But that was a really cool experience.
Yeah. Well, this is the extent of the amount I can talk sports. So
okay, me too. I can make anything.
Let me bring in some tomato juice as well as my coffee.
Yes, please. Is it spicy tomato juice or just normal?
I couldn't get that at this time of the morning. They just have tomato juice. No.
I just made a stew with spicy V8. I didn't even know that was a thing. And yeah,
You could add a V8.
I know.
I myself in the head.
I can go grab it and stick a straw in the bottle right now.
Yeah, I love that. That's my airplane drink is spicy tomato juice.
Oh, wow.
I don't drink alcohol, but I do like something that will give a little kick.
A little kick.
And, yeah, so I actually pilfer those tiny little Tabasco bottles from cocktails that they give you.
Yeah.
Put them in my my backpack, and I'm just sitting there getting my as spicy as I can, on the plane.
Yeah. We have a bunch of those. I go to World Market and I get the little flights. I call them spicy flights. Yeah, we have a couple of those around the house that we just like, hey, you want to, because we do the same thing, not with our cocktails, but literally every food that we ingest.
Sure. Yeah. There are some sauces. There's a place in the Los Angeles Farmers Market that all they sell are spicy sauces. And they've got a couple there that are made with ghost pepper that they actually have like a skull on their signage going, no refunds, no sympathy. So if you buy it, you're on your own, kid.
We I've started growing. I've got habanero peppers right now. I've got 5 plants outside. Nice. And we've been using them in cooking, but I'm actually going to start making habanero oils to see how that to cook with and stuff. We're experimenting.
I thought you were thinking about it for like massage. That would be.
Oh, I mean, I like a spicy massage as much as the next person, but I don't know if I can handle that. We were cutting them up the other day, and I actually got them in my eyes, and that was an awful experience. That was 0 out of 10. Do not recommend.
Did you pour milk in your eye?
No, but I did rinse it out a bunch. I wear contacts.
Oh my!
So putting the contact fluid into my eyes. Luckily, I didn't stick it in there. It was like I just went like this, and but it felt like my eye was on fire, but it wasn't.
Yeah,
it's just the capacity.
Milk is the best thing.
Yeah.
To get rid of spice, and milk. I don't know if pasteurized milk is dangerous or not. I know that when my son was an infant, and my wife was very into being all holistic and natural. Yeah. They said if he ever gets an eye infection, just squeeze some breast milk directly from your breast into his eye, and that will kill the infection. So that's why I immediately went to milk in the eye.
Yeah.
Going to my wife, going, I've got an eye infection, honey.
That could be a good side hustle.
Get away from me. This is only for him, not you. You're done. Let me do some voices. Well, how long have I been on? 10 minutes. I haven't done Morbo the newscaster. Or calculon the star of all my circuits and his unholy acting talent. Oh, Lieutenant Kiff Croker. Oh, sir, it seems the rest of the crew doesn't share your passion for velour.
Or breast milk.
That's right. Sarah, you know what? That was a good joke. I make the jokes. Clamps, give it a clamps. You want ice, you clamping, boss? Clamp, amp, and damp. No clamps. No clamps. This is a very nice lady. A podcast. All right, boss. I may just be a simple country hamper chicken lawyer, Sarah.
Oh my gosh.
But I know when I'm finger licked with ghost peppers.
Okay. Do you ever forget sometimes that there was like you'll be walking around in public, right? And you'll hear something and you're like, oh yeah, I forgot I did that voice. Does that ever happen to you?
It used to happen with Lexus.
Yeah.
I was the voice of Lexus from 2009 to 2016. In fact, my last day on the job was also Obama's last day on the job. I was January 19th, 2016. So I ushered in the Trump era unemployed. It was a very nice run. I mean, you couldn't ask for more. They gave me a car, paid me a fortune, and my voice was on television literally every 15 minutes somewhere in the country.
Wow.
But it's so close to my own voice, and yet I shaved it slightly deeper and off that I would, I'd hear, when a car goes as fast as a Lexus, it goes really fast. I don't add copyright. This is just me doing the rhythms. It's a terrible commercial. And I'd stop and what? Who is that? Am I in the room? And then there's the odd time I think, boy, that guy's doing a really good impression of me. Oh, wait, it's me. The 2016 Lexus GS. Once driven, there's no going back. See your Lexus dealer. So that was my gig, and I literally, we made more commercials for that product than anything I've ever worked on. Fruit Loops, we probably make about 6 commercials a year.
Wow.
Them, I probably made 6 commercials a month, which is a lot. 6 new commercials, and every month. So it was a very, very lucrative gig, and it was just rewarding to know that I was kind of moving the engine of engine. I mean that as a pun, but you take it for what it's worth, of commerce forward as the economy and selling cars.
Yeah.
Yeah. So and anyway, that was a good time. It bought me a house.
Yeah.
And I'm ever grateful to the Lexus folks.
Yeah. And now your son, growing up, did he realize that his dad was like the voice actor of all of these characters and stuff like that? And
he realized it before we told him. Again, getting back to people that are joining us just for our La Leche League focus, my wife was actually breastfeeding him while television was on, and something I had done came on. I don't remember what cartoon it was, and he literally, as she said, he spit me out, turned to the television, and went, "Daddy."
Oh.
Yeah, he knew my voice from the TV set, and it actually interrupted his nursing. So I was quite thrilled to learn that I'm more important than breasts. So he was so yeah, so to him it's always been normal for Dad's voice to be on TV, but for that reason he really stopped watching things I'm on. And even at like 8 years old, I'd go, did you see the new season of Pinky and the Brain?
Yeah.
Daddy, when I do that, when I listen to you, it takes me out of the show.
Oh my gosh. So
if I walk in and go, oh yeah, that's Tom Kenny, and they go, Dad, stop doing that. I don't want to know that it's Tom Kenny. I know Tom Kenny's a friend of yours, but it takes me out of the show, Dad.
It's not cool.
Stop commenting on any of the cartoons. Then he starts watching anime, and I'm like, oh, it's Caitlin Glass, thinking he's a little older now. He can handle it. Keep doing it. Takes me out of the cartoon, Dad. Stop.
He purposely only watches like the Spanish dub and stuff.
Absolutely, yeah.
Just so you can't, no one.
I know no one. Yes, I do. I know these covers too. Now I do it just to aggravate him. He's 28 now, and he won't move out. So I'm doing everything I can. He's a musician,
I
and
understand.
a multi-talented one, if I may. If I may make a plug for my son.
Of course. What does he play?
Well, he's a guitarist extraordinaire, also a wonderful singer and songwriter. And he not only does his band stuff, but he and his partner write for VR games, virtual reality games.
Oh, cool.
Yeah, so they've got the whole soundtrack on Boneworks, which is a top-selling VR game. And there's a song that if you get near a radio as you're going on the journey in Boneworks, and you get near the radio, or if you pick up the radio, his song comes on, and it's a really catchy tune called "Pick It Up." And there's a whole thread on Reddit as to who is Radio Buddy. They call him Radio Buddy.
Wow.
He's like a friend, as you go through the maze or whatever it is on Boneworks. But and it's a really catchy tune. So yeah, search that out by Michael Woodcoff and Jonathan LaMarche. He'd hate me for telling you this because to him that's not what I do. That was for the game. He likes to write these very deep and emotional songs. And his group is called The Similar. THSIMILAR. And it's to search them out on the social media, or the social medias as I call them. Kids aren't saying that, but I am.
The socials. Do the hashtags.
Social. Yeah, I thought I could try and bring in social medias, but nobody's buying social medias. But I still call it that. Anyway, it's at We Are The Similar, all one word, on everything. And,
that's really cool. I don't know why he wouldn't be more braggy about that. If I was the lore of a radio person on a video game, I'd be freaking out. I'd be like, cash it in, life accomplished. There's nothing higher for me.
No. Well, listen, he knows he knows that people like the song. That's great, but it's like he is a musician and a lyricist who wants to say something. So that song is a fluffy little fun thing. And and the lyrics, I'm revealing the secret. The lyrics are literally about cleaning your room, but on the Reddit boards, everybody's like, "Oh, this is about like cleaning up your life, man. This is about like, taking care of things and getting rid of the that does not serve you anymore." And it's like, nope, we just wrote a song about cleaning our room.
Well, what's ironic is he wants to be like writing deeper stuff, and everyone, his light fluffy piece, like
everybody loves,
existential crisis, man, because of Radio Buddy.
So search out just to annoy my son. Search out, Pick It Up, Michael Wyckoff and Jonathan LaMarche. So that's his partner on the video game stuff, and then he's Marcus Grimmie is his partner on We Are The Similar, and they write all the songs for The Similar together. And it's a wonderful sound.
Do you play any instruments? Do you have any musical?
I took 6 months of piano, 6 months of saxophone, and 6 months of viola in junior high, and I got that far. One year where I kind of bounced amongst those three instruments, and then I went, "This isn't for me." I just the reading of the music.
It's hard.
I have a form of music dyslexia. I just couldn't really zero in on it, so it was very tough for me. I loved making sounds, and I liked doing things by ear.
Yeah.
But of course, because I taught myself like the opening strains of Fiddler on the Roof on the viola.
Oh wow!
Because I loved that movie when it was that's what was out when I was that age, and but it was like, get back on the bed and but I could go. I even taught myself to do a little vibrato, and now the way that my son was taught guitar.
Yeah.
For his 13th birthday, for his bar mitzvah, his grandmother got him a guitar and guitar lessons. And we had this, young rock musician go to the house. And how did he teach him? By teaching him songs he loves. And that's how my son got into it, So And now he's a killer guitar player. He's amazing. All because, oh gosh, I can't remember Drew's last name. He's actually a well-known songwriter now. Oh no, Taubenfeld, Drew Taubenfeld. Taught him by teaching him. You know, everybody wants to learn through doing what they love.
Yeah.
You know, if I taught voiceover, the last thing I'd do was start you with a bunch of vocal exercises.
Yeah.
You know, I do your best Goofy for me. You know, and let's see where that goes. Now take that somewhere else, and you know, weave in and out of. And then who inspired you as a teacher? Who do your most eccentric teacher voice? You know,
Yeah.
That's the stuff that, you know, cross-pollinating voices is so much fun and helps me come up with new characters. Kid is an amalgamation of Truman Capote and John Lovitz.
That's amazing.
Brain is mostly Orson Welles.
Yeah.
There's a little Vincent Price in there, just enough to give him some shading and some color and a few highs. But you know, he's got the attitude of Welles and mostly the voice.
Yeah. You know, that's super interesting too, because I have a little bit of a background in that. And the teachers were so formulaic with it. There was no playfulness. It was no, this is what you do. This is how you read it. This is how you do it. No. But that approach, it's very interesting because it touches into the playfulness of the craft and what you already know and growing on your own strengths instead of trying to like and like taking and piecing crap together that isn't already in your wheelhouse and growing upon your strengths.
Right. It's absolutely, play is the best way to learn anything. And my job is to play.
Yeah.
You know, it's playing, sitting down at a microphone, but it is play. And Rob Paulson is one of the best playmates in the world. And we've had, you should see his spread in Play Mouse magazine.
It's so funny because I did talk to him and he said he would never be caught dead in spandex. So it's really funny you said that.
Well, yeah, he is just I mean, we don't call it improv because improv is a word that scares the living daylights out of me. I did not come up through Second City or the Groundlings or anything like that. But if he and I are on stage together or doing an interview together, or even in the studio, we just call it effing around with my best friend. Yeah. So, because I know he's got my back. So no matter where I go in an improv, like I said it out loud, I know he's going to do everything he can to make me look good as we do that, and I the same for him.
Yeah.
Really, it's like the trust game, but you're talking and you're being silly and creative and wonderful. So. But don't call it improv.
No. That's a beautiful thing though, because to have trust like that on stage with somebody, that's kind of a rare thing.
I think that's the secret of the Kids in the Hall, and I think that's the secret of all the Second City people and the SNL people.
Yeah.
And all the people came out of Groundlings and Second City that ended up there over the decades.
Yeah.
Is really the secret of good improvisation.
Yeah. It's interesting to hear you say that too, because you started back in the long ago with stand-up. So stand-up, how did then that translate, I guess, sort of into where you are now? And
well, I mean, stand-up was one of those things that I just seemingly was good at from the very start. I mean, good for high school. You know, I did the high school variety show and did a little, Ed Sullivan's show sketch, with about 6 impressions, and there was a 3-minute long stand-up. But I got a standing ovation because, hey, here's a kid doing stand-up comedy, and he didn't absolutely suck, and all of his voices were good, and he had a couple of half-decent jokes, and they just watched, like 5 pianists in a row. It's like, I'm like, oh my gosh, something that made us laugh. And I did have a showstopper, my Peter Falk impression. You know who Peter Falk was? Okay.
But I can act like I do.
No, be honest. Okay. Howard Stern always said, be honest in radio, Robin. People like me because I'm honest. All right, Robin, what else is in the news? Take your top off. Anyway, an impression, folks, an impression was different time. But where was I going with that?
You were talking about, asked if I knew who Peter
Falk. Peter Falk Yes, and I said, don't pretend.
Yes.
Peter Falk, did you see The Princess Bride?
Yes.
So, by the way, I'm here with Carrie Elways, not here in my room, of course, but I'm here at this con with Carrie Elways, and we're having dinner tonight because
Shut up.
he did Pinky and the Brain back in the 90s and couldn't believe the fun he was having. It was him and Olivia Hussey, Juliet from Romeo and Juliet.
Yeah.
So it was called The Melancholy Brain, and it was a Hamlet takeoff, and Carrie was Hamlet. And he just couldn't believe how much fun we all had doing British comedy in between takes. So we started palling around back then. We still hang out, especially when we're at a con. We make sure to have dinner, Rob and Carrie and me. So so Peter Falk was the grandfather who reads the story of The Princess Bride to Fred Savage's grandson. And, you know, and when Wesley said, "As you wish," he was really saying, "I love you." Right? And that I put a lump in my throat as I was saying it.
That's so good.
Peter was amazing. He was an amazing actor, and he had a character called Columbo, who was the most rumpled and brilliant detective, except he was so disarming because everybody thought he was a stumblebum and an idiot. The truth was he was a genius at solving crimes. And if you ever get a chance to go on, I think Peacock shows it now. Look up old episodes of Columbo. It's really special storytelling, and it's a great character. So that was my showstopper, was my Peter Falk impression, even with doing the crossed eye. And you know, it was very I guess he had a glass eye.
Yeah.
And, so that was what brought about the standing ovation. So I was hooked from that moment on, you know. So you know, I went from that into stand-up. And then one night in Toronto, there was a casting director for Nelvana Films in the audience. She heard all the impressions. They were doing a show with a lot of Saturday Night Live and Second City people that was a roast. And they created a few characters that based on my impressions. And I was like,
wow,
19 years old. So I went in. That was the very first time I heard my voice come out of a cartoon character's mouth. That was the closest thing to magic I'd ever seen. It took 6 months for me to see it. But it was, you can find it actually on YouTube. It's called Easter Fever. Garrett Morris from the original SNL cast plays the Easter Bunny, who's retiring. So they throw him a roast. And I play Steed Martin, a horse based on Steve Martin. I am a wild and crazy horse. And
oh my God.
The MC was Don Rattles, a snake based on Don Rickles. Were you born that silly? Anyway, gang. And those were my first gigs, you know. And then I came to the States, and for 5 years, all I did was stand up. They weren't interested in me for, you know, voiceover was a closed door. But Frank Welker started talking me up around town. And you're like, you got to have this kid, Maurice LaMarche. And I just signed with a voiceover agent at William Morris at the time, and which doesn't exist anymore. That's swallowed up by a larger agency, just like the whales, you know.
Yeah.
So I was I got on Inspector Gadget second season, where I took over for the Chief Quimby because they moved the show from Canada to the States. And I got to hear Don Adams tell great stories about the making of Get Smart. You know, he'd be like, "Go Gadget legs." All right, cut, Don. Great. We're gonna jump ahead 2 pages. All right, Marsha. While we're doing that, listen. So there was a time when Don Rickles did the show. We were chained to the wall all morning, and we couldn't get through the scene because we were laughing so hard. So they left us chained to the wall and went for lunch. When they came back, Rickles and I were still laughing. So, you know, I got these great stories, and I thought, this is voiceover? This is fantastic. Don Adams is telling me stories about the making of Get Smart, which was my favorite show as a kid. And so, you know, so that was the beginning of me. And then Ghostbusters and getting to play Egon, Harold's character, which was my favorite character in the movies, that was 140 episodes. And this is the greatest gig in all of show business. You know, you get to become other people without 5 hours of makeup. You know, you just, your voice, boom, boom. And I had Frank Welker next to me teaching me techniques of how to do it. Like Frank can be energetic and never, ever make a sound. With his thing that they have to redo the tape because Frank, we heard your shirt. So I began to take on his techniques and being able to emote without ever making a noise. I began to be, you know, kind of if not in demand, certainly the new guy on the block, and known as somebody who can do almost any voice. And that's where it came from. And then came, of course, the brain. Yes, my dear, the brain. We shall take over your show, Sarah, and through that, take over the world. Yeah, always.
Oh my God. Okay. We are like at time and I got to let you go because you got a busy day ahead of yourself. I always do 5 random questions. Can I do my 5 random questions?
Fine. 5 which questions?
Random questions.
Oh, random questions. Yes. Oh, please do.
Okay. Number 1, has there ever been someone you met that made you starstruck?
Absolutely. And I was telling this story at dinner last night. John Cleese.
You met John Cleese.
I met John Cleese, and I even had an introduction from someone who'd made a film with him. So it was very friendly. It was backstage after he and Eric Idle. Eric, who'd done Pinky and the Brain and played both of Pinky's parents. So I already had a relationship with him.
Yeah.
Plus I knew him through Bob Ezrin, who produced the Monty Python, original Monty Python CD-ROM game.
Oh my gosh.
And he's my son's godfather. I've known Bob for 30 plus years. So I already had a thing with Eric. So I was over my being starstruck with Eric.
Yeah.
A huge Python fan. And this is, by the way, what Paulson and I bonded over was our love of Python and
my gosh.
Cook and Dudley Moore. And but I'd meet Cleese and I go, Mr. Cleese, actually it's more like this. Mr. Cleese, I just want to say you are such an inspiration. My friend Rob Paulson, Pinky and the Brain, we love it. We just played and each, and he's like, oh, very nice. Yes, very, very nice. Lovely to meet you. Thank you so much. Thank you. Goodbye. It was just such a friggin' moron. So yeah, that's my starstruck moment.
I love that. Okay. What is a hobby you wish you got into but never did?
Any hobby. I don't have any hobbies. Hobby I wish I'd gotten into. I wish I'd gotten over my fear of bodies of water. I would love to do something like kayaking.
Oh.
Or canoeing, but when I go out on any large body of water, I'm gripped with fear.
Oh wow!
Drowning experience as a child. So
that's interesting.
I can handle a swimming pool,
okay.
But going out on a lake, I'm always tense. So I've only done it a couple of times, and I would never do it down a river. So
right. Growing up, what did you think your career would be?
I thought I might be a priest.
Really?
Yeah, I don't know why, but I did. I'm one of those people who was fascinated by church from a young age. I went to Catholic school.
Yeah.
And and somehow or another, I love the smell of clove incense. And I like the respect
and the free wine and the crackers. It's great.
Absolutely. And I just thought, I love the respect they got, and of course, I never felt respected. I'll tell you, even as a kid, Sarah, I had no respect at all. It ain't easy being me, Sarah. Yeah, last week I went to bed with an inflatable girl. Now I got an inflatable guy looking for me, okay?
Oh my God. Okay. If you were a Disney princess, what would your sidekick be?
My sidekick?
Yeah. So like Belle has the furniture.
Okay, I get it now. Yeah. Let's see. I would probably have like a rat terrier. I don't know. I'm a little dog who talks like Danny DeVito. Come on, princess. Let's get the hell out of here.
That would be perfect.
Yeah.
Oh my gosh. Okay. And then the last question, and this might be a hard one because you've been on everything. What is the show you would love to play a character on, but you haven't yet?
Oh, well, I have played a character, so I guess I get to take that out of the pantheon. I was going to say Batman because I had always wanted to do some version of the many iterations of the Joker. And I shot at it, my best shot for the Batman in 2003. And I thought I did this really interesting, different audition that, upon thinking back on it, was quite close to what Heath Ledger would do with it in The Dark Knight. It was in that same vein, though. It was like really psychotic, really low key, because the one direction on it was don't do Mark Hamill, and of course, there's no touching Mark's Joker, So, so that's kind of like the part. I'm trying to think though. You know what? I never did a Rugrats, and I wish I'd done one of those.
Yeah.
I would love to have been on Rugrats because that's part of so many people's childhood.
Yeah.
I got to be Big Bob Pataki, the Beeper King on Hey Arnold. So I was part of the Nickelodeon universe, but I would love to have done a little bit on that.
Yeah. Well, thank you so much, Maurice, for taking this time with me.
Tara, it's been a pleasure. You're a delight. I wish you all success in all of your endeavors. You're a wonderful interviewer. So thank you so very much for having me.
Of course. And for those of you watching, you can meet Maurice October 1st at the Hall of Fame City Comic Con in Canton, Ohio.
Be there with Rob Paulson. Pinky in the Brain, yes. Taking over Canton.
Bye.
Bye. Take care.